A couple of hundred years ago, when the height of military technology was the flintlock musket, part of the process for loading it involved pulling the hammer back to the halfway point, known as the half-cocked position, so that you'd have enough room to fill the primer pan with gunpowder. It was also useful as a kind of basic safety catch, because the hammer wouldn't engage from the half-cocked position, no matter how hard you pulled the trigger. Unfortunately, sometimes in the heat of battle, soldiers would get a bit ahead of themselves and forget to pull the hammer back all the way, so that when they actually tried to shoot at the enemy, the safety would stay engaged and the gun wouldn't fire. Hence the expression, going off half-cocked, i.e. rushing into something without being properly prepared with disastrous consequences. I bring this up because it seems particularly relevant to the absolute shit show surrounding Kathleen Kennedy and the eternal question of when, how, and indeed if she'll ever leave her office at Lucasfilm.
Never.
A few days ago, when Puck News broke the story about her plans to step down at the end of the year, it was picked up by every major news outlet and YouTube channel with even a vague interest in Star Wars, including yours truly.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, we'd heard plenty of rumours like this before, but this was the first time that it felt real and plausible. Kennedy was old as fuck by this point. She'd been at Lucasfilm for what felt like half my lifetime, and she'd presided over a disastrous series of critical and commercial failures and embarrassments that had left the company with no more assets to exploit. It was pretty widely known that just like a gambler on a losing streak with nothing but the shirt on his back, she'd been holding out for a big win to finish up her tenure. Let's be real here, I don't think there's any big wins in Star Wars' future, at least in the short term, and if they're ever gonna happen, it certainly won't be because of you, sweetheart. No! But hey, Andor Season 2 is on the way, and while it'll probably be watched by an audience of literally hundreds, it'll at least give her the critical success she could use to justify her exit on a high. All of this is to say that it really felt like the time was right for her to go, maybe announcing her departure at Star Wars Celebration in April, and spending the rest of the year collecting pointless awards and prepping her successor to take over. That is, until Puck News broke the story ahead of schedule, forcing her to do an interview with Deadline where she, clarified the situation? Quote, "The truth is, and I want to just say loud and clear, I am not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies. That is the first thing that's important to say. I am not retiring."
Right.
You know, it's actually kind of funny reading this now because you can tell how angry she is that she's having to defend her own career now. The passive-aggressive attitude is practically dripping off the page. It's like a kid that's been told to eat their vegetables one time too many, has a complete meltdown and screams, "You know what? I'm never eating food again, ever!" I also like this question where the interviewer asks her about the chaos surrounding her possible departure. Chaos? There's never been any chaos because we know exactly what the plan is.
Really?
You know, that's kind of ironic considering your entire tenure at Lucasfilm has been nothing but chaos from start to finish. In fact, it's one of the many reasons you've run that studio into the ground. You had absolutely no plans for Star Wars beyond.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
You stumbled drunkenly from lucky success to failure to even bigger failure with no idea of how to fix it and no understanding of what you were even doing wrong, and you stuck your fingers in your ears and refused to listen when anyone tried to help you. Oh, just as a little side note to that, by the way, I can tell you with a high degree of confidence that Kevin Feige wasn't just brought in to make a single Star Wars movie a few years ago. He actually came in with a fully comprehensive 5-year plan to unfuck the franchise and get it back on track, and was promptly told to piss off by Kathleen Kennedy before he'd even finished his presentation, which is why there's been no further talk about collaborating with each other.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Let's just say there's no love lost there. I also like how she tries to justify the endless stream of projects that get announced and then go nowhere. It's very hard for anything to happen within Star Wars without some aspect of it becoming public before you even want it to become public. So I guess managing the message in some way is also quite a challenge because, of course, not every single thing we put in development we're gonna make.
Son of a bitch!
Motherfucker, you're the one who announces all these phantom projects, you absolute moron. It's not like they're getting surreptitiously leaked by some deep cover insider here. You're choosing to make official announcements at major events about projects that have all the detail and planning of a couple of sentences scrawled on the back of a beer mat. Of course people are going to assume that they're going to get made when the studio themselves make the announcement. Man, it seems like us YouTubers aren't the only ones to go off half-cocked. But it's the next paragraph that's really important, so pay attention, 007. What's happening at Lucasfilm is I have been talking for quite some time with both Bob and Alan about what eventual succession might look like. We have an amazing bench of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the roads. Interesting. On the one hand, she claims that she's not retiring from movie making, but on the other, she admits that she's been talking about succession for ages, and that she'll make the announcement months or a year before it actually happens. Like at Star Wars Celebration, with the intention of stepping down by the end of 2025, you mean? And here's the kicker. 2 final questions. Will you step out as Lucasfilm boss this year? We really don't know at this stage. There's so much going on, Mike, I don't know.
Right.
Now, the general rule with interviews like this, whether it's politics or entertainment, is that if you don't explicitly deny something, then it's absolutely happening. It's so funny watching someone trying to deny a leak like this on the surface, while also having to tacitly acknowledge that everything about it is actually true. Again, like an angry child forced to do something against their will, but too proud to actually give in, what you get instead is, fine, I'll do it, but not because you told me to. And you can tell how insecure she is about this because she keeps hammering this point home again and again throughout the interview. We are in lockstep as to what that's going to be, and I am continuing. I am producing the Mandalorian movie right now, and I'm also producing Sean Levy's movie, which is after that. So I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoughtfully with Bob and Alan as to who's stepping in. So that is all underway, and we have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it. Yeah, sure, we get it, Kathy. This is totally your decision, and everyone else marches in lockstep with what you say. You're very powerful and important. Go collect another award or something. Now, if you add all of this word salad bullshit together, what you end up with is someone reluctantly forced to admit that the rumours are indeed true, while also trying to spin it into something more flattering to her own ego and public image. Ultimately though, I can see 2 possible outcomes for this. The first is the best case scenario, where she was and still is planning to step down at the end of this year, but wanted to break the news herself at some high profile event, and is now pissed off that the announcement leaked in a way that she can't control the narrative, so she's forced to do damage control to shore up the illusion that all of this is totally happening on her terms. Basically, she wants to go out with the best possible news coverage, and that's under threat now, so she has to act. The worst case scenario, on the other hand, is that she now decides to dig her heels in and stay on at Lucasfilm for as long as humanly possible out of pure spite and malice. And honestly, I wouldn't like to take bets on which one's most likely. It really takes a special kind of person to stay on for years in a position where they know that almost everyone fucking hates them and wants them to leave, but it seems like Kathleen Kennedy might just be that person. And even if she does step down as Lucasfilm president this year, there's still the ominous threat of her presence lingering over the franchise for years to come, through her involvement with multiple films and TV shows as a direct producer. So even when you hand the reins to a Lucasfilm protege, it sure sounds like you're going to be in that world for 8 to 10 years. Fair? I don't know if I'm going to say that, but yeah, it's possible. At the end of the day, I'm nothing but a humble YouTuber, but if I could offer a bit of career advice to Kathy herself, I'd like to end this video with the words of Oliver Cromwell. You have sat too long for any good that you have been doing lately. Depart, I say, and let us have done with you. In the name of God, go! Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.